Hello Chelsea fans. Welcome again to Chelsea HQ View for an amazing blog post about our beloved Chelsea FC. Estevao Willian, Chelsea's Brazilian wonderkid makes perfect start at Stamford Bridge. Picture this, you're 18 years old, you've just signed for one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and everyone's watching to see if you can handle the pressure. What do? If you're Estevao Willian, you simply start scoring goals from day one. The young Brazilian winger has made headlines not just for his hefty price tag, but for how quickly he's adapted to life at Chelsea. From scoring 2 goals in his very first training session to finding the net in his debut pre-season match, Estevao is already showing why Chelsea were willing to spend big money to bring him to London. But who exactly is this teenager that has Blues fans so excited? And what can we expect from him as he settles into English football? Let's dive deep into everything we know about Chelsea's newest Brazilian sensation. Who is Estevao Willian? Before we talk about his early days at Chelsea, let's get to know the player himself. Estevao Willian dos Santos Goncalves, known simply as Estevao, is an 18-year-old winger who made his name at Brazilian giants Palmeiras. Standing at around 5 feet 8 inches, he's not the biggest player on the pitch, but his pace, skill, and eye for goal have made him one of the most exciting young talents in South American football. What makes Estevao special? Well, for starters, his numbers speak for themselves. In 68 appearances for Palmeiras, he managed to score 22 goals and provide 11 assists. That's an incredible record for any player, let alone someone who's still a teenager. These aren't just lucky goals either. Estevao has shown he can score from various positions and situations. His style of play is what you'd expect from a modern Brazilian winger. He's quick, loves to take on defenders one-on-one, and has that natural Brazilian flair that makes football look effortless. But unlike some flashy wingers who are all style and no substance, Estevao combines his skills with a genuine understanding of the game and a killer instinct in front of goal. The big money move to Chelsea. When Chelsea announced they had signed Estevao, it wasn't exactly a surprise. The club has a long history of investing in young talent, and Brazilian players have often thrived at Stamford Bridge. What did raise eyebrows was the fee involved. Chelsea paid an initial €34 million, around £29 million, to secure Estevao's signature. That's a lot of money for any player, but especially for an 18-year-old who had never played outside of Brazil. However, his current market value has already risen to €60 million, suggesting that Chelsea might have gotten themselves a bargain. The transfer was completed in June 2024, but Estevao only officially joined the squad in August 2025. This delay is common with South American transfers, as players often need to complete their commitments with their current clubs and sort out work permits. But here's the interesting part: before joining Chelsea, Estevao actually played against them. In what turned out to be his final match for Palmeiras at the Club World Cup, he scored in a 2-1 defeat to the Blues. Imagine scoring against your future team in your last game for your current club. That's the kind of confidence and ability that probably convinced Chelsea they were making the right decision. First training session, 2 goals and a statement. Now here's where things get really exciting for Chelsea fans. When Estevao stepped onto the training pitch for his first session with his new teammates, he didn't hold back. The Brazilian scored 2 goals in that very first training session, immediately announcing his arrival to everyone at the club. Why is this significant? Well, first training sessions can be nerve-wracking affairs. New players are trying to fit in, understand new systems, and prove they belong. The pressure can be immense, especially when you're the big money signing that everyone's talking about. But Estevao seemed to thrive under that pressure. Scoring 2 goals in training might not seem like a big deal to some people, but it tells us a lot about the player's mentality. It shows he's confident, he's ready to make an impact, and he's not intimidated by his new surroundings. These are exactly the qualities you want to see from a young player joining a club like Chelsea. The fact that he scored twice also suggests he's already understanding what his coaches want from him. Enzo Maresca's system requires wingers to get into goal-scoring positions regularly, and Estevao seems to have grasped this concept immediately. Pre-season debut, first official goal. If scoring in training was impressive, what Estevao did next was even better. On August 8, 2025, just days after officially joining Chelsea, he scored his first goal in a Chelsea shirt during a pre-season friendly against Bayer Leverkusen. This wasn't just any goal either. It came at a crucial time and showed the kind of composure you'd expect from a much more experienced player. For an 18-year-old making his debut for a new club in a different country, this level of calmness in front of goal is remarkable. What's even more impressive is how quickly this goal came after joining the squad. Most players need time to settle in, understand their new teammates' movements, and adjust to different playing styles. But Estevao seemed to slot in naturally, as if he'd been playing with these players for months rather than days. The goal against Leverkusen also gave Chelsea fans their first real glimpse of what their new signing can do. It's one thing to hear about a player's potential and another to see them deliver when it matters. Even though it was just a pre-season friendly, Estevao showed he's ready to contribute immediately. What this means for Chelsea. So what do these early performances tell us about what Estevao can bring to Chelsea? First and foremost, it's clear that he's not going to be intimidated by the step up to English football. Many young players struggle when they move to a new league, especially one as demanding as the Premier League. But Estevao's early showings suggest he has the mental strength to handle whatever comes his way. His goal-scoring ability is obviously a major plus for Chelsea. The club has sometimes struggled to find consistent goal threats from wide areas, and Estevao seems like he could solve that problem. If he can maintain anything close to his Palmeiras scoring rate, he'll be a huge asset for the team. But it's not just about goals. Modern wingers need to contribute in multiple ways, and Estevao's record of 11 assists in 68 games shows he's not a selfish player. He understands when to shoot and when to create for others, which is exactly what you want from a wide player in today's game. The speed with which he's adapted is also encouraging for his long-term prospects at Chelsea. Players who settle in quickly tend to have more successful careers at their new clubs. If Estevao can continue this positive start, there's no reason why he can't become a key player for Chelsea in the years to come. Fitting into Maresca's system. Enzo Maresca has brought a specific style of play to Chelsea, and early signs suggest that Estevao is a perfect fit for this system. The Italian coach likes his wingers to be direct, to get into goal-scoring positions, and to create chances for their teammates. Based on what we've seen so far, Estevao ticks all these boxes. His ability to score goals from wide positions is particularly valuable in Maresca's setup. The coach wants his team to be unpredictable in attack, with threats coming from multiple angles. Having a winger who can consistently find the net makes Chelsea much harder to defend against. Estevao's pace is another asset in Maresca's system. The coach likes his team to play with intensity and to hurt opponents on the counterattack. A quick winger who can beat defenders in one-on-one situations is perfect for this style of play. Challenges ahead. Of course, it's important not to get too carried away based on a training session and one pre-season friendly. The real test for Estevao will come when the competitive matches begin. The Premier League is a different beast entirely, and many promising young players have struggled to make the transition. The physical demands of English football could be a challenge. The Premier League is faster and more physical than most other leagues, and young players sometimes need time to adjust to this intensity. Estevao will need to prove he can handle the week-to-week grind of a full Premier League season. There's also the pressure that comes with being a big-money signing. Chelsea fans will expect immediate returns on their investment, and the media will be watching his every move. Managing these expectations while continuing to develop as a player won't be easy. Language and cultural barriers could also play a role. While Estevao seems to have settled in quickly, adapting to life in London and communicating effectively with teammates and coaches is an ongoing process for any foreign player. What Chelsea fans can expect. Based on his early performances and his record at Palmeiras, Chelsea fans have every right to be excited about Estevao. Here's what they can realistically expect from their new signing. Goals from wide positions. Estevao has already shown he can find the net regularly, and this should continue in English football. Don't be surprised if he reaches double figures for goals in his first season. Pace and directness. When Estevao gets the ball in wide areas, he'll look to take on his defender and create something positive. This directness should add a new dimension to Chelsea's attack. Versatility. While he's primarily a right winger, Estevao can play on either flank and even through the middle if needed. This flexibility will be valuable for Maresca. Development potential. At just 18, Estevao has plenty of room to grow. If he continues on his current trajectory, he could become one of the best wingers in the Premier League. The bigger picture. Estevao's signing is part of Chelsea's broader strategy of investing in young talent with huge potential. The club has learned that buying established stars doesn't always guarantee success, so they are focusing on players who can grow with the team and provide value for years to come. This approach makes sense both financially and footballically. Young players like Estevao are hungry to prove themselves and often show more commitment than older players who might see Chelsea as a final payday. They're also more likely to adapt to new systems and coaching methods. If Estevao succeeds at Chelsea, it will validate this strategy and encourage the club to continue investing in young South American talent. Brazil has produced some of the world's best players over the years, and there's no reason to think this will change anytime soon. Looking forward. What happens next for Estevao? The immediate focus will be on getting more minutes in pre-season friendlies and showing Maresca that he deserves a place in the starting 11 for the new season. Competition for places at Chelsea is fierce, but his early performances suggest he's up for the challenge. The key for Estevao will be consistency. Scoring in training and one friendly is great, but he needs to prove he can do it week after week in competitive matches. If he can maintain his goal-scoring form and continue to develop other aspects of his game, there's no limit to what he can achieve at Chelsea. For Chelsea fans, the early signs are incredibly encouraging. They've seen too many expensive signings fail to live up to expectations, but Estevao seems different. His attitude, ability, and rapid adaptation suggest he could be the real deal. Final thoughts. Estevao Willian's start to life at Chelsea couldn't have gone much better. 2 goals in his first training session followed by a goal in his debut pre-season match. This is exactly what Chelsea fans wanted to see from their expensive new signing. Of course, the real tests are still to come. The Premier League is unforgiving, and many promising young players have found it harder than expected. But everything about Estevao's early performances suggests he has the talent, mentality, and hunger to succeed at the highest level. Chelsea have made some questionable signings in recent years, but this one feels different. They've bought a player who's already proven himself in South American football, who has the right attitude, and who seems to understand what's expected of him. If Estevao can continue this positive start, Chelsea fans might look back on his signing as one of the best pieces of business the club has done in years. The Brazilian wonderkid has already made his mark at Stamford Bridge, and this might be just the beginning of something very special. The question now isn't whether Estevao can succeed at Chelsea, it's just how successful he can become. Based on what we've seen so far, the sky might be the limit for this talented young Brazilian. Chelsea fans certainly hope so, and early evidence suggests their optimism is justified.